Hey guys, this is Chris from Empire Bricks and welcome to another LEGO Star Wars mock review. Today we're having a look at an amazing build. It is the Jedi Temple by Jayden Irwin. Before we dive into all the amazing details of this build, let me state that I did not design this set by myself. A guy named Jayden Irwin designed it and entered it into the LEGO Ideas contest. I got my hands on the instructions and started building, and this is the result. And even though I have changed quite a bit because there were some mistakes in the instructions, the general build is still, or design is still done by Jayden Irwin, so all credits to him. Also his name can be found in the description below this video. So guys, let's dive in because this is just an amazing design. As I said, it's the Jedi Temple. It's very recognizable as a structure in a whole, even more if I put it at an angle a little bit. Now, if I take it closer, you can actually see the top pillars. Now, these are of course very recognizable as well. And this middle pillar here with the three kind of parts sticking out is supposedly where the Jedi Council Chamber should be. Now, if you want to see a mock of the Jedi Council Chamber, I have a separate one on my channel, so go check it out. But for now, let's dive in. The outside here is the general structure. It is meant to look like a complete Jedi temple from the outside. A little bit kind of Lego architecture skill, but bigger. But pure as a display piece, this just looks amazing. It has all the recognizable bits. Now, some things I have changed, I will kind of explain as I go along. But first, after having seen the outside, let's turn it around because three sides are closed, but we have a look at the back or the front, just depending on how you look at it. You can see it's actually open and it has an interior. It has a ground floor, a first floor, and all these parts can kind of come off. And this brings us to the kind of first part that I changed in the instructions, or maybe two pieces. The instructions are designed for this to be based on two half base plates, and I built this on a single 32 by 32 base plate. The original instructions intended to be able to open up, so you can kind of divide it and kind of slide it open in two halves. But the instructions do not provide the mechanism for opening it up. So it has two base plates separate, but it still builds like it's one thing. So this is something I had to kind of improvise, and I decided myself to make these separate floors instead of having it open up on two sides. Another thing is this. You can see these corner pieces. They are over there as well. Here I left them out. These corner pieces are extremely rare. Unfortunately, in the color tan, they are very hard to get, and they are about $5 to $8 each. So you can imagine that if you have to put in 20 of those, the cost of this mock will rise very fast, and I had the ability to leave 3 out here and 3 out there, saving a lot of money on this mock. So this is a choice that I made. Otherwise, these would have been corner pieces as well, and the whole thing would have looked a little bit more like the Jedi Temple from all angles, but I'm still very happy with how this turned out. So that's kind of the outside. Let's dive into the inside. I told you that I made kind of floors that can come off. Some are by design, some are not. This is by design though, so I can actually just pick this up and take it out. And you can see that here is a small version of the Jedi Council Chamber. Now, this design is actually very clever. These are just tiles, tan tiles, which this just slides on, or you can just put it on, but I like the sliding motion, making it look very good, because if the top is on it, you really cannot really see that this is here from the other side, but it comes off fairly easily, but it stays in place because of these higher parts. It will just only move this way. Now, inside, it's nothing too special. You can see there is some chairs that are designed pretty neatly. I think I can take one off for you guys and show it to you. It's not very hard if you want to make it yourself. It's just 2 of these dark bluish gray bracket pieces, a red chair in the middle, and these dark bluish gray wedge pieces on the side. And voila, you have your own Jedi Council Chamber chair. So There are 6 chairs. Of course, you could make more. This is another change I made. There is a different way to put these chairs in this room. But if you do it the way the instructions provide, they do not have enough room to turn a little bit. They're too close together, I guess. So it's a small change. Design-wise, I really like this room because it's very simple. The floor is dark red, and all the colors are kind of resembling the Jedi Council chamber. And I really like this part because this is just a wall, but it's built in a way that it really looks like a sliding door that could open up, which it can't, but still it looks like the entrance. And this makes for a great display. If you could enter some Jedi in here, put maybe Anakin in the middle, you have a scene that is worth taking pictures of. Small thing I added is this row of dark red tiles there at the door. That was still uncovered gray, and I thought it would be better to cover it up with some dark red. So yeah, I just thought that would look better. This is also something that I had to change. I'm not sure how many other pieces, but because these were supposed to be corner pieces, these walls would come in a little bit, and I just decided to leave this whole part open and just create a sloped area where you can still easily access it. Now, when the roof part is on, you can of course not access it, but it's still better than this being a wall, I think. So that's the first floor, and here we come to another design change I made. In the instructions, this part, and it still does for kind of, it still partly does, this floor is attached to the bottom floor, completely attached, just built as the same thing, because in the instructions it was meant to open up. So this is just attached on the base floor. I built it on one base plate, so I needed this floor to come off as a whole. So I found a solution. It's only attached now by these red tiles. If I take those off for a second, and you just move them a little bit over here, do the same on this side. Here, just this last one. And now you can see that basically you can do the same thing because it was attached to these blocks. You can do the same thing with this floor and just take it out entirely and put it on the side, and we get access to the ground floor, maybe even the most important floor of them all. So I'll just have the camera getting a little bit closer so you can have a better look inside. Now there's quite some aspects here, but there's one more design change that I have to show because I needed the other floor to come off, so I kind of tiled every part that I could find on this floor, you know, making it a little bit higher, making it look a little bit different from the outside if everything is put together, but still very happy with it. And I even think that the access that you have to the inside is even better, contrary to when it would open up in two halves. Now here is kind of the entrance, some sand blue, dark red kind of pedestals where you could put I guess some special items, Jedi items. There are some figures and items described in the instructions, but they are very expensive, so I left them out. But if you would populate this with Jedi and maybe small statues or holograms on these pillars, those would look great. But this is supposed to be kind of the entrance to the Jedi Temple. Inside of the Jedi Temple, we have several rooms. I guess you could put, this room could be the room where the younglings train with Master Yoda. There could be a hologram of Camino or the star systems over here. So that will be the scene where kind of Obi-Wan asks Yoda to find the missing planet. And over here would be enough space to put some younglings and or other Jedi around that table. It's quite spacious and there is more than enough room for quite some younglings. So make for some good photography. Again, here are some pedestals, so two of them meant for some artifacts, which I did not include in this build just because of the cost of the parts. That is kind of a design flaw in my opinion, that the parts for the artifact and stuff like that were really, really expensive, but I just chose to leave them out and fill them in with stuff that I collect when time goes on. But behind these pedestals you have the Jedi library, or Jedi archives, I guess. Small design change here as well. That was meant to be built out of 1x2 bricks in these colors, and even different colors, but those bricks do not exist or are very expensive. So I chose to use plates, and I'm actually pretty happy with how that turned out, because the plates give a more layered effect than the bricks do. So it gives more of the hologram effect that the Jedi archives are supposed to have. It's kind of cramped over there, so you could actually pose a figure in between there and on the side over here. And of course it would have been awesome if Lego would make the librarian into a Lego figure, something that we are really missing as collectors. But I really like the look of the Jedi archives. And over here we have a small kind of table with a reading area, or I guess computers, where you can put Obi-Wan trying to find Camino or something like that. So it's kind of a reading area. This part of the interior is relatively simple, something you might want to add to sometime in the future, but for now this is a great build and I'm really happy with how it looks. And there is enough space to put a lot of figures inside. That's something that's important too. Turning it all around, you can see there's a little bit more space for kind of this learning area, so you could pose 2 more figures over there. Nothing too special though, but I guess every room for all the scenes that are you would like to replay are here. You have the library, you have the training area, you have kind of the library reading area. There is an entrance over here, and of course on the second floor there is the Jedi Council chamber, making this a very, very complete build, and something that would have been awesome as a set. But for now I guess this is more than good enough for me to have and add it to my custom build collection. I'll just put it together and show you guys one more kind of special thing. So putting the first floor on, meaning that I have to put the camera back on a higher piece. So here we are, a little bit lower. All right, so that part is on. I'll just attach these tiles again, making it a solid structure once more. Adding the roof, and I'll just turn it around and show you one more special detail, because there is also a scene in the Jedi Temple in episode 3 where of course Anakin kind of has to wait in the Jedi Council chamber, and in the end he flies off to save Palpatine because he needs his secrets. Now the instructions actually included a mechanism for a very, very small 1x1 tile to flip out of this tower, kind of symbolizing that spaceship, but the instructions are so bad that it's impossible to build that structure. So I came up with something myself, and if I push the brick here, this actually comes out like this, and you can see a 1x1 tile over here, kind of symbolizing the small ship that Anakin uses. And you can just push it back in, and it kind of disappears into the wall. You can barely see it. So I'm a little bit proud of what I did there, and as I said, even though the instructions are originally by Jayden Irwin, I did make quite a few changes for the better, and I think this is one of the coolest things that I had to come up with, because it was quite difficult to fit everything inside of this pillar without losing any of its structural integrity. Now, concerning parts, this is around 1,000, maybe 1,200 pieces, and because of these corner pieces, it's relatively expensive, ending up at about 15 cents a piece, I guess, depending on where you get it and if you get pieces new. Luckily, I had quite a few of these pieces left over from my own MOCs, so the costs were much lower for me, but I think if you would build it yourself and have to buy all the parts, you would get around $200 to create this structure, which still is quite reasonable if you look at what, for example, the playset Millennium Falcon nowadays costs. So that's my mock review for this set. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I am absolutely blown away with how cool this build is, and I'm really looking forward on choosing and building a new mock and show it to you guys. For now, thank you all for watching. If you did like this video, please like, comment and subscribe, and I will see you all next time.